being probably the greatest Jew that ever lived in the essence of the Torah, which is, you can ask any rabbi, is Vahavta le'arecha kamocha, love thy neighbor as you love yourself. And in my awareness, in my studies of Yeshua, of Jesus, he was the single most phenomenal person who obeyed that law. Now, I don't mean obeyed as in that kind of obeyed, but through his being, he carried that forward. And as he said, the greatest love that you can give is the willingness to lay down your life for the good of humanity. That is also the Christ being that does that. And he did that as well. And that is very profound and very, very significant. So the whole concept that the narrator, in his snarky voice, when he's talking about Jesus, to sort of belittling intention in his voice, is to say that the Bible, the story of the Bible, and everything therein is just an astrological tale. Now, in my understanding, I've had some very profound revelations and understanding of some of the passages in the Old Testament and the New Testament that have revealed something to me that is of profound significance of an alchemical nature, which I share in the document of my Sphinx sphere, which is a very powerful healing alchemical creation to bring healing, peace, and harmony to the person and to the water that it shares, that it charges, I should say. So you could check that out and understand what I'm saying. But in a nutshell, if you look at John's revelations and the book of Ezekiel, they both have the exact same vision. Lo and behold, the sky opens up, and there stands a vision of a fourfold beast. Now, Zeitgeist didn't sink their teeth into this one, but if they did, they would make a very shallow and unwise conclusion that John of Revelations, coming after the book of Ezekiel, must have plagiarized Ezekiel, because lo and behold, two people cannot have the same vision of the same thing that exists in nature. Lo, that must be a plagiarism. Excuse my sarcasm, but there is a certain irresponsibility which is reprehensible in Zeitgeist publishing this work hand in hand, part one's work hand in hand with part 2 and 3, which seem to be quite important for people to become aware of. And yet, I think that what life is all about is an understanding of love and an achievement of the being that we can call the Christ Mashiach, the messianic consciousness. So to throw the baby out with the bathwater is such a typical misplaced action of imbalance, of the swinging of the pendulum, throwing the baby out with the bathwater, saying religion controlled, therefore Jesus didn't exist. But if we look at that vision of John, of Revelations, and Ezekiel, what it really represents is the fourfold nature of the Sphinx, which is the fourfold nature of the fixed signs of the zodiac in the stars. Leo, the lion, is what is witnessed by John and Ezekiel. The eagle, which is the higher aspect of Scorpio. Taurus is the bull or the ox that is seen, the calf. And the man is the human being that is Aquarius. These form a grand cross in the sky. Now this grand cross, yes, it's the cross of the Christ, we could sort of say, but it's also just the cross that exists in the higher heavens. And if you look alchemically at a being who achieves a oneness with the Creator, they contain both the Father and the Mother. The Father is the Son, which rules Leo, the lion. Lion is also the house of Judah, the house of David, where the Christ is allegedly to have come from, or is said to come from. And then you have the Mother, which is ruled by the moon. The moon is Luna in the Sphinx consciousness, the four aspects of the Sphinx. The eagle, Scorpio, is water, and water is ruled by the moon generally, as the moon rules the waters. So you have the Father and the Mother that each of us is created within. The Adam Kadmon, the original Adam being, was in the image and similitude of the Creator, called, in the image and likeness, male and female they were created, the children of the Creator. So we, each of us, have within us the Father and the Mother. And when these two come together, creates the child, the Aquarian human being, which is also known as the Christ astrologically. Now, one of the conclusions in Zeitgeist, again, very irresponsible and very shallow, not very deep in its nature, very surface and also a false conclusion, is to say that what Jesus was saying about when he will return is just a matter of the end of the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. Now, I don't totally disagree with the fact that the Christ will return collectively for humankind, which is the return to peace, the return to unity, the world of Newtopia, of every nation land. I agree with this. But to say that it's just an astrological thing and it doesn't actually bear any truth for our world is false. And I'll demonstrate that in this vision of Ezekiel and John, the father is ruled by the sun, that is fire element. The mother is ruled by the moon, that is the water element. These two come together in an alchemical embrace that creates fire and water. It creates steam. Steam is water and air. Aquarius is the water-bearing element. What that shows us is that the Aquarius, that he who bears the water, is the air element that carries the water in the air, which is steam, which is created by the union of the father and the mother. It is so beautiful and profound to arrive at this conclusion rather than just sort of disclaiming or negating all of the profundity and the beauty that lies in understanding about the Christ, and an understanding that there was a man here who, against all opposition, was willing to give up his life to descend through the underworld, to pass through hell and death, to open up the door towards us so that we could follow. Now, what's important about that is in my alchemical and Kabbalistic knowledge and understanding, I've come to see that death is part of the illusion of this world that is caused by us not being one with the Creator. As we give up our free will, all opposition to the Creator is nullified. And when it's nullified, health is returned. All diseases are cured. So Christ, who is known as the Philosopher's Stone and the Tree of Life, and in the alchemical symbolism, brings that eternal life and negates the illusion of death and hell that only exists when we believe in that which is not real, and when we do not go through the process of voluntarily letting go of all control to achieve, to re-access the true nature of ourselves in the model of the child of the Creator and the messianic consciousness, which is available to all people. But to say that it never happened is kind of trying to negate, or trying to arrive at this place where nothing is sacred. Everything is sacred. Well, if nothing is sacred, nothing can be sacred. You can't have everything sacred as well, which is what Zeitgeist, for instance, is trying to establish. And it simply is a very irresponsible use of knowledge and of facts that are not factual, in fact, and definitely not academic. So in conclusion, Zeitgeist the movie has revealed some important things that religion has controlled, yes. And also in part 2 and 3 to help us understand that we are living as somewhat as slaves to a handful of people who own everything and who are very greedy and trying to be like God, and are probably the single most poignant example and manifestation of evil on the planet, which is greed and control. However, the conclusion of Yeshua, of Jesus not existing, is a very false one, and I urge you to reconsider if you have jumped on that bandwagon that so many seem to have jumped on. And I'd also like to say the 26,000 years, the great year, I explain further to understand that the galactic heart center, which is the alchemical union, and the black hole, which is a gateway to the higher dimensions, which is coming in 2012, is a representation of the Christ and the Sphinx and of Chiron. I'd like to invite you to check out my work, which is very profound, to understand what is coming for the Sphinx, for the return to the oneness. I am Moshe Daniel, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for checking out this video, and I invite you to visit David House Productions and to be a part of Every Nation Land, which is a world that is the true nature of the world, to unite us all under one flag where we truly belong. and to also to counter the opposition of the one world government, which is the exact opposite of every nation land, which is the one world unification of peace and harmony, equality, not a handful of people ruling over everyone. So I wish you shalom, I wish you salam, la paix, peace. Thank you.